Greetings, friends. It is my pleasure to present this award each year. The award was created 22 years ago by H.G. Jones and I meeting at a restaurant in Chapel Hill. For many years, it was Danny Romine Powell who made this presentation. We lost Danny last fall, but I did want to remember her today. She was a respected book critic for the Charlotte Observer and dedicated her life to poetry and the promotion of Southern literature. The book selected this year is by Janet McCue and Paul Bonesteel. It is called George Massa, A Life Reimagined. I'm going to tell you some about the book before I call up one of the two co-authors. The other co-author, Janet McCue, wished to be with us today. She's a librarian at Cornell, but happens to be traveling and in British Columbia presently, but was very happy to receive news of this award. The other finalists this time around were Sidney Nathans, Freedom's Mirage, Virgil Benahan's Odyssey from Emancipation to Exile. Greg Jarrell, Our Trespasses, White Churches and the Taking of American Neighborhoods. Jonathan Schroeder, The United States Governed by 600,000 Despots, A True Story of Slavery. And Christopher Cooper, Anatomy of a Purple State, a North Carolina politics primer. Joining me as judges were Joe Mobley, Rebecca Godwin, who's here, Howard Covington, who's here on the front row, and Jim Irvin. The Massa biography was our unanimous choice. It is the first life story to receive this recognition in several years, joining biographies of Sam Irvin, Edward Kidder Graham, and Susie Sharp. The life of George Massa may be known to many of you. Born in Japan, he came to the United States and lived for 9 years on the West Coast in Seattle and Portland before landing in Asheville in 1915, taking a job at the Grove Park Inn. He wrote in his diary, "This is a mountainous area, an excellent place to live." As an immigrant, he was viewed with suspicion during World War I and afterwards, leading to scrapes with the law, all without basis. He made friends easily and soon was organizing sightseeing tours, processing film, and taking photographs before opening his studio downtown in Asheville. His reputation grew, leading to work for the Vanderbilts at Biltmore and other prominent individuals and businesses in the region. Massa is rightly acclaimed for his striking photographs, widely circulated to this day, but his signal achievement was his promotion of Western North Carolina, leading in time to creation of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and the Appalachian Trail. In the course of promoting the region, he befriended Horace Kephart, transplant from Ohio to Bryson City, who shared his regard for the beauty of what Kephart called the back of beyond. Writing to a friend in 1931, Massa explained nature's tonic. "When I make trip, these things don't bother me. I just leave office and go into woods, get fresh, balsam air, then come back, start strong, fight, no use to worry. That's the way I do. May I am strong, but it is good to me all time." Massa was only 48 when he died in Asheville in 1933. Authors of the new book, as mentioned earlier, are Janet McCue, and Paul Bonesteel. Janet McCue was co-author of a biography of Kephart, and Paul has completed a film about Massa and is currently finishing a new film. They assembled a team of researchers in the US and Japan to analyze Massa's life, utilizing new sources. They were fortunate to partner with Smokey's Life, a Gatlinburg nonprofit, to produce a beautiful book, one I commend to you all, with first-rate reproductions of Massa's photographs. The book gains timeliness from the focus it brings to the world shattered by last year's flood and related destruction. Massa photographed Lake Lure, for example. His life story also sheds light on the immigrant experience and contributions made by newcomers to North Carolina. So at this point, I'll call forward Paul Bonesteel.
Well, thank you so much. Mike covered much of the baseline of Massa and the story, which is great. The adventure of writing a book like this, as many of y'all can imagine, is the research and is the archive and is the fascinating and engaging search into another human life, right? The journey, which for me is the first film I made, The Mystery of George Massa, goes back 24 years now. And then, lo and behold, stories like Massa really take hold of you and never let go. Some new research did come to light after that film, and this project, this book, has been a wonderful example of collaboration, primarily, obviously, with my co-writer, Janet, who does thank you all very much and is honored as well. Many people ask, what's it like writing a book like this with a co-writer? How did that actually work? And we really had to have each other. The research and the theories that we were working on, and again, the book will speak to that more specifically as you read it, I hope. But we needed each other to debate and to ask those questions, and we needed many others, primarily our genealogical researchers and our Japanese researchers, who not only provided boots on the ground in Tokyo, but a lot of cultural nuance. And that was really key for us to feel comfortable and confident to tell Massa's story in a biography of this nature. We were very aware of, as much as Massa loved Asheville and the mountains and worked for that, the cause of preservation, he was deeply a Japanese person, obviously by birth and by culture. And the culmination of this for us was also going to Japan in July of last year and spending time with our researchers after we had pretty much finished the book, but revisiting that with them in person and visit the archives that we worked within, both there and here. And I love the fact how the North Caroliniana Association, our society, has funded the North Carolina collection in Chapel Hill and other places, because those photographs, and Massa's photographs are everywhere in archives, from Western from Chapel Hill to UNC Asheville, and they've gravity and the beauty themselves has pulled them into these archives. And it's been fantastic to both work with those and then feed those archives as more photographs have come up through the years. So I can ramble, but I just want to thank you all again for honoring this book and his life. As Mike mentioned, this new book has fueled a documentary that I'm now finishing, which frankly goes even beyond what we have in the book about his life and his upbringing in Japan, and hopefully answers what has been the primary question for many years about Masa is, why did he care so much about the mountains here? And where did that come from? What was the fuel behind all that? And both in the book and even research since then, we've answered that question more fully than ever before. And it's a beautiful story. And I thank him for living the life he led. And I thank you all for this award. Thank you.